The gray duffel bag swung softly at her side as she stepped through the security checkpoint. A familiar face, a trusted uniform. No one questioned her. Why would they? She was always on time, hair tied back, eyes steady, uniform spotless. Just another morning at Lindholme prison, just another shift. But sometimes the smallest details hide the deepest betrayals. The bag was only slightly heavier than usual, placed on the table with just a little too much care. A quiet click as it touched the metal. A sound so small, so easy to miss in the rush of a long day. One young officer, new to the post, hesitated. His instinct told him to look closer, and in that moment, everything began to fall apart. A system built on trust, cracked open by the weight of a single bag. It wasn't loud. There were no shouts, just a few puzzled glances, the crackle of radios, the quiet closing of doors, and a woman sitting in silence, hands clasped, offering no answers. And that was where it all began. Have you ever stopped to wonder, how could something as small as a single bag shake an entire system? How much can be hidden behind what looks ordinary? We walk past people every day, faces we think we know, people who seem normal, people we trust. But what do we really see? Amy Hatfield was one of those people. 38 years old, psychiatric nursing assistant at HMP Lindholme, a Category C prison in South Yorkshire. She worked nights, always on time. Uniform crisp, hair neatly tied back. She kept her head down. No trouble, no complaints, no criminal record, no warnings. To those around her, Amy was quiet, dependable, maybe even too kind to the prisoners at times, but nothing that ever raised concern. Then in 2018, something changed. Amy was assigned to care for Joseph Whittingham, 35, serving time for violent and drug-related crimes. But Joseph wasn't like the others. He spoke gently. He listened. And perhaps in a place where people feel invisible, Amy felt seen. Their conversations started about sleep, about mental health, things that belonged to her job. But slowly they became longer, personal, quiet, unseen. Somewhere along the way, the line blurred. By mid-2019, Amy was messaging him on her personal phone, something that should never happen. She changed shifts to match his. Secret moments became part of her routine. What began with care became something else. From nurse to messenger, from messenger to smuggler. Bit by bit, a relationship that cost her everything. Her reason, her career, her peace. And so we ask, what could make a woman like Amy Hatfield, once trusted, once respected, fall so far for a man behind bars? Was it love? Was it loneliness? Or was it the quiet hunger to matter to someone, no matter the cost? September 2019, a day that began like any other at HMP Lindholme. But this time something small, something almost missed, changed everything. Amy Hatfield, the quiet psychiatric nursing assistant, walked through the checkpoint. But on that day she was stopped. Just a routine check, just a bag placed gently on the table. But then came that sound. A faint metallic clink, the kind of sound that makes a person pause, the kind of sound that tells you something isn't right. Inside Amy's bag, they found what no one ever imagined. A small dagger, its blade wrapped in tape, 3 unregistered mobile phones, tiny foil-wrapped packages that didn't belong, and then 2 bottles of Ribena, but not the kind you'd give a child. These bottles hid a secret. The liquid inside was no juice. It was spice. A dangerous synthetic drug banned behind bars for the chaos it causes. Tests confirmed it. 2 liters of liquid spice, worth hundreds of thousands inside those prison walls. When they searched further, in her office, in her locker, they found another liter hidden away. In total, enough to flood the prison with more than 200,000 doses, enough to ruin lives. All of it smuggled in beneath the cover of trust. Trust in a nurse's uniform, trust in a colleague, trust in a system that didn't see the danger until it was too late. And in that moment, the quiet betrayal of Amy Hatfield came into full view. What started as a bag check soon uncovered something far darker. This wasn't just about a nurse gone astray. It was the gateway into a network, hidden, organized, and chillingly effective. At the heart of it all was Joseph Whittingham, 35 years old, serving time for violence and drugs. But prison walls hadn't stopped him. Inside, he built something that went far beyond one relationship. He used Amy Hatfield, the woman who once stood for care and duty, turning her into the main lifeline for his smuggling empire. And he wasn't alone. On the outside, his wife Lucy kept the money flowing. She moved cash through accounts, taking payments from families of inmates who believed they were helping their loved ones. His father, Paul, acted as the courier, collecting the illegal goods, handing them over, always keeping his head down. Inside the prison, other inmates played their roles. Jordan Needham, Kieran Murphy, using hidden phones and coded messages, they moved drugs and orders like a business, one that thrived in the shadows. Police uncovered junk SIM cards, fake bank accounts, records of every delivery, every deal. A network so well-oiled that even prisoners who'd never met Amy still received their cut of the goods. This wasn't a story of misguided love. This was a crime syndicate, disciplined, profitable, and dangerous. And the most frightening truth? It ran undetected for over 2 years, right under the nose of the very system meant to keep the public safe. This wasn't a crime of chance. What Joseph Whittingham built wasn't the work of a reckless inmate, but a cold, calculated machine. Every person played a part. Every move was planned. Every weakness in the system was quietly exploited. And at the center of it all, Amy Hatfield, a woman trusted to care, not to smuggle. Her position gave her a cloak of invisibility. As a psychiatric nursing assistant, she moved through areas with a few questions. Bags filled with medical supplies and records passed without a second glance. No one imagined that hidden among the medicines could be liquid spice disguised as Ribena, cannabis and cigarette packs, MDMA and ketamine tucked inside fake medical kits. Carefully labeled, deliberately split across days to avoid notice. Amy didn't handle the sales. That fell to men like Jordan Needham and Kieran Murphy, prisoners who turned illegal phones into tools of trade, running orders and accounts from inside their cells. Outside, Joseph's wife Lucy made dirty money look clean, laundering it through fake accounts, masking payments as help for inmates. His father, Paul, played courier, passing parcels with quiet precision. It was a business, a dark one. Every delivery logged, coded, tracked. If something went missing, profits were docked. Even inside the prison, the network had its own overseers, making sure no one spoke out of turn. And what made it all the more chilling? This empire thrived because it fed on trust, on gaps in checks, on systems that didn't speak to each other when prisoners like Whittingham moved from one jail to another, building his network as he went. By the time it was uncovered, more than £1 million worth of drugs had made it through. And who knows how much money changed hands in the shadows. For over 2 years it ran, hidden in plain sight, inside what was meant to be one of the safest places in the country. When Amy Hatfield was finally stopped at HMP Lindholme in September 2019, what began as a simple security check became the unraveling of a secret that had been hidden in plain sight for years. A special investigation team was formed, not just to look at what she'd done, but how no one had seen it coming. They went through her shift patterns, her overtime, her leave requests. A pattern emerged. Amy had quietly changed her hours to match Joseph Whittingham's medical appointments. She stayed beyond her shifts without reason, slipping through the cracks of a system that trusted too easily, that looked the other way. Her phone told a story no one wanted to believe. Deleted messages recovered by experts showed she wasn't just in contact with Whittingham. She was part of something bigger. Codes for deliveries, timings, money transfers. Grape juice meant liquid spice. Coal pill wrap meant MDMA. It was all there, hidden in plain sight. The searches came next. In the duty room, another liter of liquid spice, a handwritten list of the codes. At home, 5 burner phones, shopping receipts that didn't match her wages, strange payments into her account, marked as family support, but from strangers across the country. The web widened. Jordan Needham, Kieran Murphy, both in other prisons, both tied to Whittingham's network. Lucy Whittingham, Joseph's wife, had quietly laundered the money through fake accounts, calling it help for books, legal fees, medical bills. His father, Paul, caught on CCTV moving the goods. In total, 16 people who might have looked ordinary, were swept up. The charges were serious: drugs, guns, money laundering, organized crime. The trial in Sheffield's Crown Court, almost 4 years in the making, became a national reckoning. Amy Hatfield, once trusted, once respected, was sentenced to 10 years and 2 months. The judge made it clear, this wasn't about love or emotion. This was about betrayal, about helping poison flood into a place meant to be secure. Joseph Whittingham got an extra 11 years and 4 months. His lieutenants, Needham and Murphy, sentenced too. Lucy and Paul spared prison, but forever marked by their part in it. In total, nearly 90 years of prison time handed down, and a clear message. This wasn't just about a few bad choices. It was a mirror held up to a system that had been too blind, too trusting, for far too long. The case is over. The sentences have been passed. But the shadow it left? That lingers. For over 2 years, more than 3 liters of liquid spice, enough for over 200,000 doses, slipped into Lindholme prison, hidden in plain sight, disguised as harmless fruit juice. 7 prisoners lost their lives between 2018 and 2019. Their stories cut short by a drug that should never have been there. And after Amy Hatfield was caught, the deaths almost stopped. On the outside, families thought they were helping, sending money for books, for legal fees, for a bit of comfort. They had no idea they were feeding a machine, a network that moved like a business in the dark, hiding behind trust, paperwork, and polite smiles. The investigation left us with uncomfortable truths. Security checks that weren't good enough. Blind faith in people because they seemed ordinary. And the hardest question of all, how does someone like Amy, no record, no sign, no hint, become part of something like this? Was it love, a dangerous loyalty, or was it the quiet thrill of outsmarting a system that never saw her coming? And now we're left to ask, was 10 years enough? Or are there more Amy's, more shadows, hiding where we never think to look?